Is that fan? Does that fan need to be on?
No. Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it. I can see it.
Come here. It's in this.
What's that? Is that you? Yeah, it's like one of them. You look like the apocalyptic end of the world guy. What's his name then? Or is it a he?
Looper or something. I don't know.
Looper?
Something like that.
That's a Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah.
All
Right, bugger off. Okay. Right, I think we're going to be okay.
You think? Listen, while you stood up, can you do before and after Weight Watchers? Is it just not true that all the best martial artists are overweight?
That's the COVID, that is.
Oh, is it?
One of the symptoms.
That's right, yeah, because it makes you go to Tim Hortons and order like glazed donuts. You know,
it's one of the symptoms of not getting it.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, you've got it, haven't you?
You mean? Yeah. No, I'm sucking the guts, guys, with the Ghostbusters.
Not being able to speak is not the same as not speaking. You seem as if you like to talk. I like to let people talk who like to talk. It makes it easier to find out how full of shit they are.
What the hell did you just say?
You are the new student. Come closer.
You're listening to the Kung Fu Podcast presented by James Still.
Anybody who has some knowledge of Kung Fu can easily defeat you.
And Steve Newby.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
If you flash him, even for an instant, a defiant eye, he'll pluck it out. And if you throw any American sass his way, he'll snap your back and your neck like they were twigs.
We are going.
I got to plus this. Have I got to plus this? Oh,
plus what?
No, it's just I've got you on the bottom now. I guess I can put it up there and get it up there. That's it.
Okay.
I got it.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
I think we're good to go. Yeah, I think.
Oh, what's that? You hear that? Be honest, everybody. You wrote us off. You thought we weren't coming back, didn't you? Hey, didn't you?
James, we've only been gone a couple of weeks?
3 weeks. I think we've been gone 3 weeks. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, do you mind if I just get me ding dong out?
You can do whatever you want to do. Don't show me.
Ding dong. Can you get ding dongs over in Canada? The hostess things, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
They're like Twinkies.
A weird one. Yeah.
I think it's a cake. I'm not sure.
Is it like a wagon wheel kind of thing?
Yeah, but it's like a sponge cake with cream in the middle. But there's so many E numbers in it. It can't be a cake.
No.
But it tastes good. Right. What we're on podcast 30, aren't we?
I guess we are. I have no idea.
We are. It's 30.
Just get on because you have.
It's 30. What have you been up to? What have you been up to then? Since we
teaching, just driving, teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Got me
going well. Is it going well?
Yeah, it's great. I'd never believed I could use the brake that much. Oh Jesus! Absolutely crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today? What have we got on the cards? What's that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's that picture?
Oh, you can't read it. It's,
No,
it's just the driver's thing certificate.
Oh.
Anyway, go on.
That's your pass certificate, is it?
That's Finally, they put it in like a frame and stuff, and then so I said, hey, I'll get a picture with that then.
Oh, okay.
So I did that.
Oh, that's not too bad. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, that's it. I can ride a motorbike now. I passed me test.
Yeah, congratulations on your.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're getting a 700cc motorbike.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Writing it off, going through the pearly gates of hell on fire.
Yeah, I bet.
That'll be great. It was actually, and the only reason I'm saying this is because it was one of our listeners' birthdays the other day.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, our listener, like the one of them. And the day after, it was incidentally my birthday. So how can I say, all the best people are Leos. They've got to be. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
I don't know where I am. I'm on the cusp.
Are you?
Cancer and What's the other one after cancer?
I don't know. So you got a split personality.
Oh, definitely.
So I've got what? Do you want to kick this off by talking about something? What we're going to talk about? Obviously, it's got to be kung fu related. What we're going to start
I haven't got any specific, subject to talk about. Just I did say to you the other day that one of the things when I came to Canada, obviously I couldn't teach straight away. It's been a while now, so
yeah.
I have been invited to open a class at the Pacific Jiu-Jitsu, but
right.
Obviously that's in the air right now because obviously I haven't agreed to anything and they haven't agreed to anything. So it's just that I know the guy who runs it and I'm very good friends with him.
Well, that's good because the facilities over there are quite good.
Oh, I'll video the facilities and we'll stick them on.
The facilities are awesome over there.
It's
they are. The martial art.
It's one of the best places though, and it is. They do it really. They are pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm talking about the martial arts in general, not just.
Yeah. Oh well, I've been to some.
Yeah.
But it would give me the opportunity as a base to start.
That'd be great.
They do like Thai boxing, full contact kind of thing, and they do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Well, I hope that works out. That'll be nice. Just
Yeah. Well, if
get over this COVID thing and jump straight into that.
Yeah. Well, they're starting up again on the 24th, which is Monday. So
yeah. I got to share this with everybody because I thought it was great. I was on eBay like 2 weeks ago, and on eBay, I bought this. Right. Yeah. Do you know what that is? Does everyone know what that is? Do you know what it? Right, I'll tell you what it is. It's not a sex paddle. For starters, it is a designer, haute couture coin purse that, loops around your belt, and you can safely, securely store your loose change. How cool is that? Is it good? But do you know what? I found out the other day, just purely by accident, there's another use for it, and it just came to me. I mean, look, doesn't that look like a handle to you? Because I was picking it up off the floor and I went like that. I mean, you don't want to be hit by that, do you?
It's a kosh.
It's not a kosh. It's not a kosh. Does it look like a kosh to you? Does that look like a kosh? This is an haute couture designer coin purse for men. I have you know. Wink, wink. And I tell you what, UK legal.
Well, everything's legal as long as you're not carrying it for a defence
that's it. Well, you wouldn't want to carry this for defence. I mean, no, it's a coin purse. Come on. Yeah. But just you like that. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Great, £5 off Amazon, eBay rather. Find it. Anyway, right, we're going to talk about. I was going to talk about like the basics of Kung Fu, what you think of the pure basics. And then I got to thinking, then I got scribbling and I was writing down a load of like what I consider wise words. And then something else happened, and then something else happened. So this is going to be all over the place for me. But first of all, okay, we had I was out scouting on the internet, and I came across this website of a certain prominent UK martial artist.
It's not that prominent.
No, it's true. Anyway,
only prominent because we know him.
Anyway, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting. It was a trailer for a DVD he did, right? And this DVD, I mean, you know, his name's Stephen Burton. His name's Stephen Burton, and the DVD was actually called, it was called Dimak Mastery, right? And here is the trailer. Check this out.
师傅鱼拳脚了，鱼拳在你的脚，你看脚脖子上面这个位置，在内侧，在内侧的话呢，这个位置呢，你可以，用，这是位置。谢谢。As you can see, the Yuquan point, which lies directly above the ankle bone, on the back of the tibia. Striking into this point, as you can see from Master Yu's explanation, can use many methods for striking. If you're kicking, you can use clawing techniques.
Okay, so what do you think of that? It looked legit, didn't it?
Looks like he can speak Chinese.
Looks like he can speak Chinese.
I'm sure he can a little bit.
Do you reckon?
Been there enough.
Do you reckon?
Well, he's been there. He can probably order chips.
No, so,
but
yeah.
I'm sure he can speak. 18. I've got no. I can't. Agree or deny.
That other guy was Master Yiming Liu. Okay, Chen Tai Chi guy. And he didn't speak a word of English, did he?
Well, not according to that, he didn't.
So, I guess what we're trying to say. Go on.
Yeah. Well, it looked to me like this Stephen Burton was sort of trying to create the kind of image that he was with this Chinese master guy, and was interpreting for him. So he spoke to him in Chinese initially, and then the guy started talking back to him in Chinese.
That is exactly.
He was interpreting it.
That is exactly what it looked like. Like that is it. If you didn't know it, that's what it looked like. Like this guy is talking Chinese and he's going shishi shishi. Okay, you know, and it's like, what, you speak Chinese, do you? Do you? Where it? By the way, that Chinese guy, Lim Yu, where does he live?
Manchester.
I like that kid. Yeah, you know. Hands wave like clouds. Come on, that's like Liverpool. But I mean, this Chinese guy speaks fluent English, but to flog a DVD, incidentally, an 8-disc DVD, priced at the meager sum of £297. But to flog a DVD, this Stephen Burton is pretending to understand Chinese, and this guy is pretending he doesn't speak English.
Well, we know that the guy speaks English, and yeah, it was just whether or not Steve Burton speaks any Chinese is a relative, to be honest with you, because the whole image of the thing was to look as if he was interpreting what this Chinese guy was saying in Chinese, but the guy actually, you know, he speaks pretty good English, so.
Yeah, but to everybody who doesn't know better.
No, I think it's just a good example of the way people try to create an image for themselves and make it like, you know, bullshido, basically.
Oh, what do you mean, right? What do you mean? I read the description of this Dimac Mastery DVD, priced at the very reasonable cost of £297. Available on Amazon, by the way. Oh, no, it's not actually. Not anymore. But anyway, DVD 3, right? This was the summary of DVD 3. You'll love this. Shaolin Limb Destruction DVD 3 sees the master teaching limb destruction, which will teach you how to literally rip any attacker to shreds. Hang on, I'll use the words of the great British philosophizer, Mr. Carl Pilkington, to express my thoughts.
Bullshit.
Thank you, Carl. That's exactly it. Okay, thanks, Carl. Right, but I mean, for God's sake, no wonder it's not got a rating. It's rating exempt on bloody Amazon. Rate it, Jesus Christ! Let's rate that now.
Well, it's you're allowed your opinions, and I mean we're allowed our opinions,
of course.
And all we're doing is critiquing, I guess. Again, I just don't like bullshitters, and I've seen too much of that from that kind of.
Oh, totally.
But it's not like I give a toss. It's kind of.
It's just sad. It's sad.
I find it arrogant.
Yeah,
I find
absolutely.
it arrogant and ignorant that
But it's all it's marketing. Like it's just great marketing. Like he's really trying to do this American marketing.
It's very good. It's very good.
You know.
Yeah.
And
but we're not. It's not. That's not the issue, is it? You're really trying to bring to the fore. It's just about how people are.
100%.
You know how martial arts organisations start with it. They build up their own like master, and the next thing you know, they've. I mean, if they're good marketers, they'll do well.
Yeah.
But if they're not very good marketers, they tend to end up brawling or challenging or threatening. And
really?
so on, and it becomes. It's just what martial arts is today. It's just become so.
It's.
I don't know. It's.
I tell you what. Yeah, I think it's really like even more so prevalent in China. I would think I've never been to China. Don't want to go. I'm fine, but I would think it's much more prevalent in China because they've got loads of people who are trying to sell you. Snake oil. Like my kung fu is the greatest. It's this, it's that, it's the other.
Yeah, this is it. You've got to make a living somehow, eh?
Yeah, I know, and don't begrudge that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, do what you're going to do, but just let's be honest about how you're making that living.
Well, that's the problem. Most of them are not.
And I think a lot of it just trickles down into Western culture, and a lot. Look at America, for example. That's full of dojos. Over here, there's loads, but people get sort of. Not open to criticism and get overly aggressive with it, which is we've seen this, and it's just really sad.
They get aggressive because but at the end of the day, not everyone's going to love you, and people are going to say that now. If you get lots of positive feedback, you love it, and then you get some negative feedback. What you want to complain for? You're your own maker at the end of the day, so people are going to critique it. People will critique us, but I get critiqued all the time. That's why they call me the black sheep, because all I do is I'm just telling how I see it. And,
you can't do that in Lau Gar. You just can't. You can't tell.
You can't even bloody until I see something on the podcast Lau Gar. Lau Gar.
Oh, you mean the blog spot? Yeah.
No. Is it the blog spot?
Yeah, it's the blog spot. They're still posting wushu. Like, guys, seriously, stop posting wushu. Just post something in Lau Gar. Jesus Christ.
People are just scared to be critiqued. But
of course they're scared.
There should be no fear in it at the end of the day. Because none of us are perfect. No. None of us are, brilliant at this and brilliant at that. And, the thing is, all you do is you're giving an opinion. Like anybody, if you watch any kind of TV program where they've got an expert on, they're going to question that expert. He's going to give his opinion. And then the next person might not agree with him at all. So it's basically, at the end of the day, it's all about. It is what it is.
Well, but what did what's that quote? from Bruce Lee, in the sanctity of the unknown, under such a veil, men honor you as masters. Going back to what we were talking about with people trying to create a persona. But talking about Lau Gar, guys, just try and be proud of your style, for God's sake. I think, this is what I think. I think Lau Gar, the BKFA, in the UK, I think it's reverting back to the organisation it was before Master Yao sort of took the helm. I mean...
Well, it wasn't Lau Gar then. So.
Exactly, it wasn't Lau Gar. That's my point. So,
okay,
do you know what I mean? So you're sort of, Lau Gar in this country it had its time. It was beautiful. It flourished and it did really well. Everyone was together. Everyone loved it. And now you just think, are people proud of the style anymore? Do they give a shit about it? If you sit, and I'm talking about not just your average like me, middle of the road sort of practitioners of it. I'm talking about your high level people. Like, do they give a shit? Because I'm not seeing any sort of attempt to create a conversation about the style on all this social media and stuff, and it's just really sad, even from the top people, because you're so, and it's just like, you were there, Steve, you were in the middle of it, and it's just so, it demoralizes me.
I see that as a challenge, right, coming up.
Yeah, but
the way you've said that, because I know that there are a lot of people still within the BKFA that are absolutely so in love with Lau Gar, and they're
where are they? Where are they? Come out the woodwork, everybody. Why does it take a nobody lightweight like me from Hereford and a guy 6,000 miles away in Canada to want to talk about Lau Gar? Where's you lot talking about Lau Gar? You're not there because you're too busy posting wushu on the blog spot. You're too busy learning wushu forms from China that have got nothing to do with Lau Gar, nothing to do with the interpretation of our style. Do that, but show me the first set first. Don't bullshit yourselves. Excuse my French. I'm going off on one now. It's passion.
Right.
It's passion.
I know.
That's what it is.
I know, James, that there are people out there that have got as much passion as you and I, if not more.
Yeah.
And they are they're so devoted to Lau Gar. But I think it takes certain people or certain kinds of people who want to voice their opinion, who want to get in the in the foray of it.
Yeah.
They want to fight for it. No, in the end, they just think, you know what, I'm going to do my thing and have done with it. That doesn't make them any less devoted or devoted to Lau Gar.
It doesn't make them any less.
No, but it just. I guess we have to accept there are, people out there that are really. I mean, let's face it, they're just going underground. Do you know what I mean? A lot of them just going underground, and they're just teaching their stuff, and they love it, and that's it. But for that reason, it'll stay. It'll survive in little
pockets, drips and drabs.
Yeah, enclaves, but
it won't ever.
What you're looking at is you want to rekindle the past of the big, powerful British Kung Fu Association.
It would be nice.
It could happen if everybody just got together, instead of just listening, actually speaking their mind.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the biggest problems is there isn't a forum right now where everybody can actually speak their mind. Except us.
Well, that's true. Except for the Kung Fu podcast, But and
then they don't want a bad name. They get into. They don't want to be.
They don't want to be associated with us
because people will see me talk.
Yeah, it's like,
go, that's my opinion, and it's there forever once you make an opinion.
Yeah.
Well, be proud of your opinion.
Absolutely.
This is my opinion. This is why I'm on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's my opinion.
Well,
and I don't like bullshitters, and I do enjoy. I love Lau Gar. I'm totally devoted to it, and even now, 6,000 miles away, or wherever, then it's
Yeah, no, for real.
It's something that I'd like to keep on promoting.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Irrespective, and I'll always question the bullshitters.
Well, you question everybody. I will question.
Well,
everybody
I'll question everybody, yeah.
Because I think that's how we learn. That's how we evolve. That's how the style progresses. The minute we stop questioning and we just take as doctrine oh, he said
well,
this.
don't forget. Yeah, don't forget I'm granddad now, so
that's right.
I can't do the stuff I used to do.
Yeah.
But it's all in here.
Is it?
Yeah. So
you better start doing that form I asked you for, and before you get Alzheimer's, you know.
I was doing it yesterday. I still remember it. I did. Yeah, but I just hadn't got the place for it, and it was raining.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. It's beautiful sun now. In a couple of weeks' time, my son's going to be off, so I'll have people to train with.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Spot on.
with this COVID going on.
Right. Now, I wrote down some wise words. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah, go
ahead. So it's basically I was just jotting and, you know, scribbling, you know, shite absolutely. But I thought I had some good ones, and I'm just wondering if you're going to if you can comment on them. It's quite a few, but you know, bear with. All right. So these are Jim Bob's wise words for any martial art, okay, or any practitioner of martial art, right? Okay. So not numbering them. I just read them out as I wrote them. Okay. And remember, it's just me just thinking out loud and writing down. Stay away from any style that puts modern in its title. Okay. Right now. If you've got a style,
we've got modern in a modern world.
No, authentic art in a modern world, but that's in a modern world. It's not like modern Wing Chun or like. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But honest to God,
updated.
Yeah. But if you see a style, right, that says, "Oh, we're modern," it's like, "Oh, how are you modern? How is fighting like in your like?" I get the social change in fighting, like we're a bit more sort of subdued as people and it's not as feudal as it once was. But how is physical fighting between human beings with 2 arms and 2 legs changed? And in terms of the tactics and strategies, if they're solid and sound, you know, what does calling something modern, or it's a modern approach, I'm taking ninjutsu that's, you know, an ancient art, and I'm applying it for the modern world. You know, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like
the thing you've got, the problem you've got, or the issue is that every couple of years, or maybe 5 years, things change, right? Approaches change, ideas change. It doesn't take away. It's like, I guess it's like fashion. Fashion changes all the time.
Do you know what fashion is? It's what everyone wants until everyone's got, and then it changes.
Absolutely.
That's fashion.
And then you know what it changes back to?
What?
The 3-piece suit, James.
That's it. You know, the 80s are kind of come back, I swear to God. You know.
Well, the 80s were the 60s, the 60s were the 50s and 40s.
I know, I get it.
And the 30s.
Yeah.
The 3-piece suit, it will always come back.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it is. They wear it in every kind of guise, but it's always going to be the same. And as far as I'm concerned, Lau Gar is a 3-piece suit.
Oh, damn right. I like that. Do you know what a Canadian tuxedo is? It's denim jeans and denim jacket. Oh, I love it. Okay, right. So next one. Okay, remember I just jotted these down, so they're in no particular order. Be wary.
I've not heard them, so
I know you haven't heard them. Be wary of any martial arts style that uses Kali sticks but isn't a screamer. Okay. Right.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You got to figure something out to teach people.
He's like, what am I doing? I'm doing Jeet Kune Do, but I got no weapons. So we're chucking some sticks. Yeah, let's get sticks. He's like, what? Okay, and okay, next one. Okay, and this is a bit of a serious one. Okay, more than 8 grades up to black sash. I think you're being ripped off. Okay, I genuinely do. More than 8 grades up to black sash, I think you're being ripped off. And this is like for all those systems that do a tag here and a stripe there for adults. All right. Listen, the journey to black sash, in my opinion, and you can comment after, is just the beginning. All right. So there's no need to labour the point for these people, but it's beyond labouring. It's about taking your money. All right. I think 8 grades up to black sash. I think that's fair. And I think generally the way that, you know, sort of our grading system works is reasonable. I think it's reasonable, you know, generally. So I think 8 grades is enough. What do you think?
It's when people start sticking little bits of tape on the end of their belts and stuff like that, and then charging people for the assessment.
Absolutely. So,
you know, that's when it gets rip off. Yeah. And I understand people need to make money in that, but come on. You can do an evaluation at the end of a month. You can do the evaluation at the end of 6 weeks and award them with a little badge or something.
Yeah.
And maybe they can pay for the badge even, but come on, you know, 40 quid for a little piece of plastic on the end of your belt, and then another 40 quid later on, and it's just stupid.
It's crazy. I you know, Taekwondo. Okay. Anyway, speaking of
you are so biased.
I'm not. I know I can smell bullshit. That's it. Like, I genuinely can. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay. Speaking of Taekwondo, there are no Taekwondo grandmasters. Fact. Okay. Right. Oh, you didn't laugh at that one, old man. Is it on edge?
I've seen the videos.
Right. So genuinely, right, I there are good Taekwondo fighters, right? I've seen them. They're great. Fantastic. But there are no grandmasters. Taekwondo is not subtle, okay? It's like it's just so not. They haven't got the interpretation of technique and movement, and it's just so sort of, you know, basic. I mean, I say that like it is basic, and when I see all these people like 8th degree master, 9th degree grandmaster, 10th degree, you know, God and whatever, these people are like nuts. Do you know that? Because they are actually at the level, they start to believe their own bullshit, like on how good they think they are. But and honest to God, I truly believe there are no grandmasters in Taekwondo, because they have got no subtlety. There is no science, you know, limited, but, you know, certainly not.
They have
a
certain, they have a limit. They have a basic process or strategy, if you want. But whether that strategy is flawed or not is an opinion.
It's an opinion, but all you've got to do is ask yourself, why was Taekwondo invented?
Well, yeah.
Right. And what would you say to that? Why was Taekwondo invented?
Well, it's a military discipline initially, and then it's just been promoted across the world, sold, if you like, as a great business model. And it is a great business model.
It's no doubt great business model. But you know, when I've got, you know, I told you the story about the black sash, you know, asking the Taekwondo group, not the black belt in Taekwondo, asking the group, you know, the problem with I wear jeans. So if I'm in a fight in the street, how am I going to lift my leg up? And that comes from a Taekwondo black belt. So, you know, albeit one example, but, you know, it's there. Right. Anyway, let's move on, because I really could bash Taekwondo all day. I'm that passionate.
You're a Taekwondo basher.
Oh, listen, bring it on.
You're a Taekwondo mugger.
They've mugged enough people off, as far as I'm concerned. Bloody hell.
Well,
right.
There is that.
Okay. Oh, listen, I'm not. I could go into it, but I'm not gonna. Like, if you want to call me bigoted and style basher and whatnot, fine. Just ask me a specific question, and I'll give you an answer. I'll tell you why I don't like it. But, you know, let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. All right.
Okay.
Just because someone can spin a stick at 900 miles an hour does not mean they can use it. Okay, right? And this is like wushu. Okay, if you see all the wushu people spinning their sticks, and the Shaolin monks does not mean they can use it. Okay, it just looks good. Oh, we'll come on to that.
It's down to the weapon, basically. Yeah. It's like a tiny. It's so light. It's untrue. I ordered a stick, actually.
Yeah.
I expected a good solid pole, and I got this bloody flimsy thing with 2 thin ends. And I'll tell you what, I you know, you could spin it on your little finger, and it It's just a complete waste of time.
Well,
and if you hit anything with it, it just shatter.
Yeah. Well, I got another
but
one.
Spinning it looked great.
No, it did, yeah.
And the swords as well, where they flop around like that. And they're throwing them all over the place.
Another one I've got here is if your sword bends, then it is not a sword. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, you know, like, I'm sorry, and I don't mean a little bend, because I understand what some do.
Flex.
I don't mean whoop, like, you know, flick bubble
gum. If you
gum.
can do that with it and let it go, then it's not a sword.
It's not a sword, all right? It's not a sword, okay? So don't be fooled by that bloody wushu, all right? Just don't. Please, okay? Talking about wushu. Wushu is communist. Communism equals bad. But communist Feiyu shoes equal good, because they're good. So you can wear those as martial arts shoes, all right?
Now that's bias.
And Apple iPhones, good. Communism, good. Okay, right. Slave labor, yay. Okay, right. So,
okay. That was a joke, incidentally.
That was a joke, everybody. Come on. That was a joke. That was a joke.
We condone any slave labor.
No, we do not. Okay, next one. Empty hand versus gun or knife equals you dead, right? And that's a generalizing thing, right? But if someone's teaching you gun defense and saying this is going to work, this is going to work, I mean, come on, seriously, you've got to really practice that. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, depends how hard you train it. Same with knife defense. If you trained it hard, and I mean solid, then at least you'd have a chance, a fighting chance. But I'm talking about
the one and only thing you practice, really.
Yes.
To be realistic about every kind of knife attack, or if you were being attacked in the street every night with a knife, you would need to train an awful. But it's for a one-off thing, and people don't take it seriously because the likelihood of a knife attack is limited. And obviously, certainly in the UK, the likelihood of a gun attack is extremely limited. But the likelihood, even more so, of a gun attack where you can actually respond to the gun is next to nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, although you might have skills in practicing gun defense, and there are skills that I know as well, that you can take a gun out of people's hands, it all depends totally if they're close here. And what's your reaction if the gun goes off? Whether it hits you or not.
Exactly.
What's the reaction?
Well,
it's like cowboys, when they're doing these cowboy films and that, they have to train the horses constantly. They stand underneath the horse, fire the gun, fire the gun, fire the gun. So the horse gets used to the firing, the explosion, the bang. You would have to do that yourself as well. And in most cases, most clubs would never do that. I took a gun, a blank firing gun, into a class once in a hall, right, in Bromyard.
Bromyard Leisure Centre.
Yeah, and I fired it. And I'll tell you what, everyone crapped themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They knew it wasn't real. They knew I weren't a terrorist. I just held the gun up. I went bang, fired it, and everyone just was like that. So if you can imagine doing defense and that gun going off, it's going to take an awful lot of getting used to before you overcome that automatic response of you know, fearing the noise.
Yeah.
And then you've got to add all that training on top of actually then doing a defense where the person's close enough to you and where you're not going to get your fingers caught in the slide.
Yeah,
you know?
I know, yeah.
And stuff like that. You know, people do a gun defense with a revolver, for instance, where they stick their hand where where the trigger's cocked at the back of the revolver.
Yeah.
And I've seen this gun defense where they actually put their finger between the hammer and the gun, and as they hold it, they put their finger there, and so when it fires, it hits the finger. I'll tell you what, you'd soon pull your finger out.
You bloody
minus the nail.
Jesus. Yeah, well, this is
Have
my
you
point.
seen the damage? Have you ever seen the damage? If you hold a firearm, you know about firearms. You know all about firearms. But you fire a gun with a slide, an automatic pistol. And if you've got your hand in the wrong place, the slide just rips all your skin
it's
off.
Called
between your
slide bite.
thumb.
It's called slide bite.
Yeah. And Jesus,
yeah,
drop the gun.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. An American did it when I was at a shooting competition, and he shot the table with a .45. He shot the table. I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, Anyway, so he was great though. He had an American Stars and Stripes bandana, and he comes out with a wife beater vest on. And shades. He looked awesome. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm American through and through." And you had to pick up the gun from the table and shoot a target. He picked up the gun, he held it wrong, he pulled the trigger by accident, and the slide cut his hand, and he shot the table. He didn't get disqualified. I was like, what? Okay, because the gun was pointing down range. So, anyway, but freedom, baby, yeah, I love it. Right. So, anyway, right, next one. Let's move on. Movies are not real. Okay, right? Ip Man, interesting film in terms of techniques, quite enjoyable to watch the techniques and them on the screen and whatnot. But it ain't real. No one's that good. Just so you know, guys, stop pretending to be friggin' Ip Man or Bruce Lee. Honest to God, they're not real. They are not real. They are just so not real. Okay, please just get a grip. They're great fun, and I think that's one of the biggest detriments about Chinese martial arts. That not only are they in their sort of base form, they're amazingly scientific, wonderfully traditional and old, and all the rest of it. I love kung fu. I love Chinese martial arts. But when you see it on film, you will have an interpretation of what Chinese martial arts is, but in actual fact, it's not. Yeah. So watch Jackie Chan do.
Before you hit him.
Like that. It's like, no. The snake doesn't open its mouth and the tongue comes out and tickles your face. I don't know. It's like, what are you doing? People think, oh, that's useless. I'm like, yeah, I get that, because the movies don't do anything. But there are people out there who actually believe. Yeah, there you go. That's the Three Stooges. Mo. But people out there just, love the movies, fine. But if they believe it, if they want to emulate it, it's not going to happen. It's just not, What's your favourite movie? I think we've asked this before. What's your favourite martial art movie?
I like Rush Hour.
Rush Hour? Yeah, that's all right. I
like the Rush Hour films.
Yeah, the first one's good. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's cool. Right then.
I just love the comedy in it. I love Jackie Chan's comedy and the way he can use weapons,
and the environment. And the environment, yeah.
Yeah, the environment weaponry, yeah.
I have to say, when all is said and done, I think Jackie Chan, yeah, he's got a rep as a comedian, but I think he's the most innovative, one of the most innovative, movie martial art guys out there. He's just incredible what he can do, great, fantastic. Right, anyway, let's move on. UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, is a sport. End of. Okay? It's a sport. How many rules are in UFC? Check it out. There's a shed load of rules. And this is what I don't get. And I get there's a lot of dodgy traditional martial arts out there who are professing to, teach Dimak and, all the rest of it. And the leopard creeps up your leg and snatches the ball or whatever. But, and I get that. And that's where these guys, these UFC guys, absolutely have a point to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, but they kind of will fall foul to being overly confident in an arena that is strictly controlled. There are a lot of rules in UFC. There are a lot of rules, and every time, there was a martial art channel on YouTube called what was it? Fight Perfect. And it was these two guys. One of them was an ex-UFC fighter, British guy. They actually got pulled as a channel because they were really sort of lashing out quite aggressively. But I think to a certain point they had a legitimate argument. They were lashing out quite aggressively at sort of traditional martial arts. saying like how crap they are and this, that, and the other. But whereas we do it with tongue in cheek, they were doing it quite aggressively. And it's not that I disagreed with everything they said, but anyway, there was two of them. There was an ex-UFC fighter and you know, his mate who, you know, was doing stuff, and they got banned from YouTube. But there was a video of the guy, the UFC fighter, in a fight, and bear in mind he just totally, you know, slags off traditional martial arts. Oh, they don't work, this, that, and the other. And in this UFC fight, this UFC guy was against the cage with someone. He was trying to cover up, and he was in the clinch, and they were throwing knees. And one of these knees went low into this guy's groin. And this presenter of Fight Perfect wasn't a presenter then, but he just went down on his knees. And the reason he went down on his knees, incapacitated, was because that person who threw a knee threw it too low, and it's against the rules, right? So if UFC's an Ultimate Fighting Championship, you know, why did you stop the fight when he took a knee to the groin and he couldn't do anything? This guy was incapacitated. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, does that make sense? Did I kind of
absolutely
the point?
It's against the rules.
Yeah, and it was against the
and
rules.
so many of them go out very confidently to the pub and in the street. And yes, they look like they can handle themselves. So that in itself is going to prevent anyone from, you know, wishing them any harm. But then you've always got the moron who wants to fight anybody.
Yeah.
No teeth because he's had it before, scars on his face and everything.
Nose like that.
Nose like that. Yeah, and then he's willing to hit them, and he'll just, you know, he'll threaten them and that, and they'll, you know, go right boom, and he'll smack them, or just kick them straight in the nuts. And they'll go down like a sack of spuds, just like everybody else. Punch him in the throat, poke him in the eye. They'll go down like a bag of spuds, exactly the same as everyone else, because you're not immortal.
No, no one is. Jesus Christ.
It just limits the amount of people that actually want to attack you if you have that confidence. But isn't that the same with all martial arts? Sometimes people get away with murder because they kind of respond to an aggressor in a very cocky and confident way, which sometimes reduces the aggressor's aggression. It actually kind of limits them because they think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. But in actual fact, if it came to a fight, the guy couldn't follow it up because he'd just go, yeah, and then get smacked. So, you know, it's just, that's the way it is, you know. Actually, a lot of people can talk a really good fight.
Oh, we know this.
And I'm one of them. That's it, that way. That's
that way. I get
one.
confused. That's where you are. Hello.
I can talk a real good fight, mate. Yeah.
We can. We're renowned for it. Right. Next one. Newsflash. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is in no way the best martial art. Okay? There's a lot of people who, particularly BJJ practitioners, who are going to go out there and say, yeah, but, you know, you can't do anything. I'll tell you what, look at UFC, look at the legacy, all this, that, and the other. You know? Guys, it's not, all right? It's a great style within itself.
And you watch that video. There's a video on YouTube where that young Gracie brother gets panned by someone who comes to, you know, answer his challenge that they are the best. Do you remember that?
You know, no, I don't actually. No, I didn't.
No, well, there's a guy. He died actually. He had a heart attack like many years later, but so he's dead now. But he actually, the Gracie brothers, the younger brother was he you know, they have this challenge that they can beat anyone and whatever. And he went to his club and they had a fair fight together, where they were kicking at each other's legs, and then they got into a grapple, and the guy held him down, and in the end, the Gracie guy had to give up. He had to tap him out,
right?
And that was it. And the guy beat him. But that was that was just a fair fight as well, rather than you know, a fight to the death kind of thing, or a no holds barred. It was actually, you know, a fair raw fight. And he tapped out. But the guy, I don't know what his name was, but it's on YouTube. And unfortunately, you know, he passed away naturally. a year or so later.
You think it was naturally? Did someone not like Dim Mackin?
Oh, it might have been that Dim Mac.
Might have been. But it gets around, old Dim. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, nothing really against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean,
not at all. I think it's great.
Sometimes it's the attitude of the practitioners. Like, it's overly confident and cocky and whatnot.
But I think that's the same with us all, isn't it? That,
no, 100%. I'm not denying they're not in Lau Gar, they're not in karate, whatever. But I think just understand, your methods of training. Okay, and try your best to understand other people's methods of training, and just try, open your mind a bit. But
I would never want to be on the floor in a clinch with someone in the street, and then his mates turn up.
Oh, yeah.
No one goes. No one, but or very rarely anyone goes to a bar on their own, right? So you get into a fight in a bar. And then you do your jiu-jitsu thing, you're going to get kicked in the face by his mate.
Wow. There you
it's
go.
as simple as that. So, it's not the kind of thing you want to be doing on the floor.
Right.
Great stuff to get them down in the first place, but please don't stay there.
Yeah.
We've talked about that on the podcast previously.
Totally. Right, next one. Tigers don't grab because they got no thumbs. Okay? Right? So all you tiger claw practitioners and whatnot, just so you know, okay? Any comment on that one, old man? Any comment?
Well, only that you've been same as the taekwondo, isn't it? There's certain things you hate.
Certain things I hate.
But I have to agree with you. Tigers definitely have not got claws.
There you go.
Have not got thumbs, and therefore it kind of makes a style that's called that. It's kind of lame because of the fact that it can't be just. Maybe they should call it something else, and then it'd be okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
What's in a name?
Yes, sure. You don't need to hurt students to prove it works. Okay?
Agreed.
You don't need to do that. All right. Prove it. Okay.
Oh,
no,
works.
Don't. Come on.
Well, I mean, obviously we know of people like that, and we know people who allowed them to do it to them as well. And then you just think to yourself, how stupid are you?
Well,
because it works. But the thing is, most of the time, it's not your student you're doing it to. It's usually you're doing it to someone who's come to your course with their students, and then to impress them, you hurt their students. And then it doesn't matter to you whether the student's going to stay or not. It doesn't matter. You don't care. Because he's not your student. He's just done for your course.
You just want to sell your £297 DVD, right? So, that's what you want to do. So, but really, guys, poke in the eye, does it hurt? What do you think?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that. No one's actually demonstrated that fully. This is going to hurt.
Yeah.
I'm going to poke you in the eye, and then literally poke them in the eye.
Yeah.
No, they haven't, because everyone knows the consequences of that.
There you go.
But the fact is that you do something like smack them around the neck and say, this is going to knock you out.
Yeah.
And then you just do it to prove it. But really all you're doing is proving it to yourself. You're getting the opportunity to practice yourself. Well, if you haven't got that much confidence in your technique and you have to hurt people in order to do it, then maybe you're not training hard enough. Maybe you just have not enough interest or information.
Right.
Don't tell me that this, like, the 13th bladder or fish and chips 61
how many bladders have you got?
Break my leg. Hey,
how many bladders have you got?
I don't know. I have no idea what they're talking about, and I quite happily admit that, because it means nothing to me. It doesn't stop. It doesn't help me to hit someone. If you're going to hit someone, you know where it hurts, because practice. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to, cause a result, total result. You hit someone, and they go, "Oh, that was good," but that's it.
Yeah.
You don't then
need to
try
take
and
it further. Come on.
Yeah, you don't have to take it further. It'd be nice for everyone to get people down on the ground and finish them off, but not to the point where they're injured.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
I know in the past.
I think there's a point when the training crosses reaches the point of diminishing returns for the people learning it. Like you can, practice in the hand blocks or whatever, in our basic syllabus. That's great. Putting a bit more effort into it. But if you're really gonna,
well, as in my time when I used to do a lot of sweeping, as you know, and it's always a hit and miss situation when you've got no mats. If you're going to make the decision to sweep, it takes a lot of decision making to decide to sweep someone, but sometimes it's just worth it. When they start being assholes in your class, or maybe when you're fighting other people, when you're not teaching them, I was in teams and stuff like that, then sometimes, I mean, I've told the story where the guy kicked me and damaged my ribs, and so I swept him 6 times, and he dislocated his shoulder because it was concrete. Yeah. And from then on, and by the way, he did Taekwondo.
Okay.
He's a really nice guy, actually. His name was Rupert, and hello, Rupert. He was a lovely black guy in Milton Keynes, and he was a really nice guy in that. But the first time I ever went to the class, I was a lower grade. No, I think I was about a purple sash or yellow sash. Yeah. And he just, you're sparring in the class, and he chose to spar me, and then I'd never met him before, and he just started throwing his kicks around, and he did a turning kick, and I avoided it, and I went, whoa, nice, and I went to shake his hand, actually, and he carried on with a spinning kick, and hit me straight in this shoulder. Yeah. And he really damaged my shoulder. I had to go to the doctors. But after that, he hurt my shoulder. Every time he lifted his leg, I just kicked his leg from under him. Yeah. 6 times in a row until he dislocated his shoulder and he couldn't carry on.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. That was the I repeated myself, Mr. Newbie alarm. So we've heard it. We've heard your stories. We've heard your war stories. We've heard your but
listen.
Absolutely, I know.
Hey, I know that at least it's true.
There you go.
I keep repeating the same thing.
Keep repeating the same thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay, where are we?
I love that thing. It's a wonder it hasn't played several times today.
Maybe,
sure.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. As a black sash, if your forms look exactly the same as when you were taught them, then you're not learning them. Okay?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this a lot, but this is going out to all the people who are black sashes plus in Lao, and then they'll go off and do wushu. They'll do the Earth, Wind and Fire discs and whatnot. Sorry, so that's a band. No, it's the Wind and Fire wheels. But get your basics done right. Get your forms looking good. Get your forms. Start thinking about your forms before you go off on everything else. All right. That's what that is.
They teach them, they train them as if they were teaching them all the time.
Yeah.
But of course, that means they're not practicing them.
Absolutely.
They're practicing them and not digesting them. Yes, that means in the end, a set will always look different once it's completed. Just like your handwriting does once you learn how to write. Yeah. It'll always look different to where you learned it.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're not going to just keep on writing the same old, you're going to get faster and more fluid. It's going to look different. That's what your style should look like.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. No-touch knockouts. If you believe in no-touch knockouts, right, they will result in you getting knocked out. Okay? There is no such thing as a no-touch knockout, everybody. All right?
There's no such thing as a no-touch technique.
Hayuken, that's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God, I hate that shit. Like George Dillman's and, all these people, no-touch knockouts. Come on, get a grip yourselves. I don't think, we don't have to, right. Okay. Whatever style you study, just ask why. That's it, okay? Just ask why. And you can ask why respectfully. And if you've got a good teacher, he will give you a why. He will give you multiple whys. He will tell you why it doesn't work, why it does work, etc. Okay? But your job as a student in the martial arts is to constantly try and find argument in whatever technique you're learning or you're practicing or you're teaching or whatever. You know, just ask why. Just ask why.
The most powerful word in the English language.
Why?
Just because.
But, you know, honest to God, come on. Let's start thinking about being martial artists instead of just doing martial movement, all right? That's our thing, right? Let's just work on it. Whatever style you do, just ask why, you know? Very important, very important. Okay, same sort of vein as that one. Just because you teach martial arts does not mean you teach martial arts, okay? How many crap sort of teachers are out there teaching God knows what under the guise of being a master and this and that? I can name, you know, 2 immediately around my area, you know, but there are many more, you know. Just because you teach martial arts doesn't mean you teach martial arts. And again, this is going back to the Bruce Lee quote, which I genuinely like that. In the sanctity of the unknown, under such a veil, men honor you as masters. You know, you're not going to know the difference. I didn't know you were not, you know, full of shit, Steve, when I turned up. I just went along for the ride, you know, and thank God I did. You know, and I'm proud of that. But there are many people less fortunate than myself. I'm not the best. I'm not the greatest. I don't. No one is. You know, but we've got to. We ask why, and you know, we're proud.
Well, the problem with a lot of martial artists, or call them martial artists, call them martial people, people into martial arts, let's say, at the very least, is that they will have a lot of discipline in their class, so everyone's too scared to ask questions. They're scared to question authority.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you're scared to answer authority or question authority, you're not going to get any answers. So you're going to assume the answers, and you're going to assume what it's telling you is right without questioning it and not without proving it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that doesn't teach you anything.
No.
So
it really doesn't. And the more militaristic a style of martial art, the less likely you're going to ask the why question. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What's that about? You know, Taekwondo, for one, because I love Taekwondo. Very militaristic. Like I said, you know, sit down, fold your arms, you know. Karate, to a certain extent, militaristic, you know, although it's probably a bit more open than that. But, you know, when you've got styles that and I'm not talking about the kids. I'm not talking about kids' classes, you know. Teach kids how you want. Let's have fun, get them bowing, get them whatever. I'm talking about adults. I'm talking about, you know, people who are there to learn. The more
parents send their kids to martial arts so they can learn some discipline.
Yeah, but the parents think they're sending them so they can learn to fight. But, you know, really, the parents don't know anything.
I don't think they want them to fight, though, James.
No,
I think they're sending them for discipline.
They're sending them to learn so they can, you know, be confident to defend themselves and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what they're given and what they end up actually really liking is like, oh, little Jimmy can bow when he's told to, or sit down when he's being quiet. He's not like that at home, you know. So
they throw beanbags at them, and yeah.
So it's not about kids' class. I think whatever you do with kids, fine, great. Just make sure they're having fun. Fantastic.
Yeah, but that's the point. You see, you have to make them have fun in order for them to come back. So you've got to make the classes fun. So sometimes they're not informative. They're less informative simply because you're trying to make, you know, you're throwing beanbags at them. You're daring them to do certain things, you know, not necessarily martialistic, you know. Yes, certainly kicks and punches and stuff. I mean, we've done it ourselves trying to, you know, but the thing is, once you've got them at that age, and then they go into the adults class, then you can start to teach them, and that's where you're talking about the adults. And the worst thing about a lot of teachers, if you like, going back to the teachers, your question is that, or your statement, if you like, is that a lot of martial artists think that by learning a style and then trying to learn another style and then going and learn another style somehow makes them more qualified. It actually makes them less qualified because they don't digest what they learned in the first place. Now, obviously, if the style they started with is useless and they ask those questions, then fine, go find another style, but don't then say, well, I also learned this.
Absolutely.
Because you just dissed it.
Yeah.
You just disrespected it. So don't
yeah.
then say, oh, well, yeah, but I'm also a black belt at this and a black belt at that. You just disrespected it. Now, why do you then try to, you know, gain qualification from it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're full of shit.
Oh, totally. I mean, you know,
But you go learn other stuff.
My list of martial art qualifications is one line. That's
and
it.
so's mine, I think.
Right.
Well, I learned little bits and stuff, but for fun. But I never professed to be, you know, black belt at this and black belt at that.
No.
And so on.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, you know, the kickboxing is all part and parcel of
it's generic. That's all kickboxing is. It's not a style.
And I've never taken a style. I've never taken a qualification in Tai Chi.
You are a Reiki grandmaster. I know that for a fact.
I am. No, just a master.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I did a weekend course.
Oh, there you go. You must. Oh, that sounds legit.
It took me a weekend to become that master. So
that's legit. That's legit.
Be careful, or I'll non-touch you and relax you.
Okay, right. Moving on. It is not how good the teacher is that matters. It is how good that they can make you that counts. All right.
Yes.
In other words, okay, think of it like this, everybody. Not every English teacher writes a novel. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the world's best fighter to be able to teach somebody martial art. You don't. Okay. You really don't.
Well, I can say that because I've had world champions. So
yeah, there you go. I haven't, but mind you, I took this. I took a beginner, and in 6 months he won gold at the nationals, the PKA nationals.
Yeah.
Well, and I did that. Like, you know, I think you were in the back somewhere, but I was quite proud of that.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You let me do my thing, but the thing is, it's like, you don't have to be the work. You just don't. Everybody's confused about this. Like, oh, you've got to be a good fighter to teach martial arts. Some of the best fighters, I bet you, don't really know martial art, and it sounds weird, but they don't understand sort of like the technical aspects of it. They just know distance, timing, what kick works, how fast to punch, you know, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, nothing wrong with that.
No, because that's what they want to pursue.
That's what they want to do.
But when they come to teach, they're going to find it extremely difficult to teach people who haven't got the same natural skills.
Right.
So their classes will be extremely small because they'll only be able to maintain people who have got those natural skills.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, of course, when you've got a teacher who qualifies himself to be all sorts, just confuses students. Because they try to teach you one thing, then they teach you another from this style and that style. And you just end up confused without no style, which is why everybody becomes a hooflung dong.
Yeah.
Because they have absolutely, and in the end, they all turn back. If they try to prove their style works, they end up doing kickboxing. They end up doing, you know, full contact or light continuous or whatever they do, or brawling, because they end up not doing the sets because they forget them.
Yeah, but it's too hard. That's the thing.
It's too hard. It's a discipline, and they haven't got the discipline.
Yeah, and it's not just about doing the sets, everybody. Let's be clear. It's about analysing and picking them apart, just, you know, etc.
But you've got to remember them in order to do that, and a lot of them don't remember them, so they fall apart.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. If anyone insists that you call them master, then they're not a master. Nobody should be telling you to call me master. Nobody. It's an honor that you bestow on someone who you respect a lot, not because they've told you that they're a master and you'll call them it. Okay? It doesn't work like that, you know? And unfortunately, I think, you know, in Chinese martial arts, in Kung Fu particularly, there's too many masters. Not as many as in Taekwondo, but there's too many masters. There's too many masters.
Well,
you know.
in every time in Canada and America, because Canada is very Americanized. You know, pretty much you get to your black belt and you're a master.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of them don't dare call themselves masters because a lot of them are pretty poor quality. But
Yeah.
They still expect to be called the master because they own the dojo or the gym.
I remember when I was writing the summary for our podcast, and I said, well, what do I like? I'll just refer to me as your student. That's fine. And then I was like, well, what do I call you? And then I said, do I call you Sifu newbie, master newbie? What do I call you? And you just said, well, put master, teacher, student. So you've covered all bases. Because I know you don't think you're a master. I know that. But I think you're a master, but you know that you're not a master.
Well, no, I'm not qualified.
Exactly,
qualified.
Right?
I have to be qualified by someone else.
Yes.
Which is what you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
But the thing is, the reason I put that is because I'm in Canada.
Yeah, right. And if you
choice.
don't do it, if you don't do it, they'll
go down the road.
You're competing against numpty bollocks who's 20 years old, wet through, who's a master, and it's just like, well, how do you compete with that? You can't.
Yeah.
So you know.
Well, that's the reason, yeah, and also that's the reason why there's more than first degree black sash in Lau Gar,
right?
Because there was only ever first degree black sash in Lau Gar, and then down the road you got numpty bollocks karate doing, becoming a second dan, third dan, fourth dan, and people would go to him thinking he's more qualified.
Yeah.
So they started then giving, first degree, second degrees, third degrees, like that. So immediately, as I recall, and I may be wrong on this, but my memory serves me well, I remember Steve Faulkner, who was my original teacher, got a third degree awarded to him, along with Bernard Chung, John Russell, Vince Lewis, or his name was McCallum at the time, Vince McCallum. He's died now.
Yeah. These are, for anyone listening, these are just like the old school Lau Gar sort of.
Oh, these are all old school people, yeah. These are all the original people, yeah, and others that were there as well. And they all got given those sashes. And then after that, they were going up the grades, and they were a higher grade, of course, than their students.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, they would have been first degrees, and all their students would have been first degrees as well.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, you have to start adding these grades and increasing the number of, forms and so on and so forth. So you develop those forms, on the way. And this is what happened in Lau too. How I am. I just don't. I believe in the original concept of the 7 sets, 7 forms, if you like, and then after that, the weapons. Great. After that, but any hand forms after that. Although I sustain this the Bok King Kong, the 8 Wonders of the Universe, or wherever it's meant to be. But that's the only hand set I want to. I'm not bothered about the 7, the 5 animal set and various other things. I'm not interested.
Well, because
because I can train those and understand the the lower sets, which in effect is the style. Okay, that's my opinion, and of course the weapon sets as well. They've been added, and so.
Just do me a favor, just elaborate on that when you say it's the style, because.
Well, if you look at Wing Chun, it's got 3 sets.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they added
5 sets.
What?
It's got the butterfly knives and the
yeah, I was just going to say they added the weapons.
Yeah.
So you increase the weapons, butterfly knives and the staff, the 7-foot pole. Okay. And then others probably do eskrima sticks.
They do.
But
they do.
Yeah. So they add things, and simply because you've got to add qualification. And I don't believe in adding qualification. I believe in adding respect, if you like, or prestige to the individual who knows the stuff. Because let's face it, once you become a professor, you still only know the same thing. You just have more knowledge in it. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
And so you can't become a professor first dan, second dan, third dan, fourth dan. Right, you're a professor, and that's it. So
it goes on experience then, but you can't measure
then
experience.
It goes on experience, and you get the job by your own qualifications, your qualities, and your reputation.
But isn't it? Yeah, but isn't it funny how in martial arts you measure someone's competence, not their experience, but their competence by the color of their sash and how many notches they've got on it.
Exactly, and this is the point. if they may have lots and lots of notches on their belt, but have absolutely no knowledge in the style, and I can name a few.
Oh, don't they hate us enough?
No, I'm not going to insult anybody.
I know.
But the simple fact is that you just watch them take grade after grade after grade, and then you listen to their syllabus, or you watch them do their syllabus, and you listen to their interpretation of the syllabus, and you think, you know nothing.
Oh, for real.
And that's why I didn't want to take another grade. That's why I hated taking gradings. So I wasn't going to pay £500 for another little.
What for? Like, I don't get it. What are you paying £500 for? Like,
no, I'm not paying.
Exactly. Exactly. I think we've discussed this. At a certain point, you should be kind of.
You better put your little.
Oh yeah. Oh no. You've said it now. It's better when you don't know it's coming. Right. Anyway. Okay. If you think, and this is a weird one, if you think you're going to win a fight with drunken boxing after the fight has already started, then you're mentally unhinged. Okay. The reason I wrote that is because I was watching a guy on YouTube, as you do, doing frigging drunken boxing, saying, you know, this is how you win a fight. Isn't the whole point of drunken boxing to appear as though you're inebriated and that you can't fight? But if you both agreed to fight, then the other person knows you're going to fight, so he knows that you're only faking the drunkenness. Anyway, what a load of
idiot.
Yeah. What a... Anyway, thanks. Right. I think we kind of touched this. Just because someone is a good fighter doesn't mean they're a good martial artist, and vice versa. Okay? I think we've kind of discussed that. Lastly, Bruce Lee is not a god. He's not. All right? Stop thinking he's a god. Okay? Anyway, great. He was fun. He was interesting. He had his nice, fun time. He's done a lot for martial arts. He's done a lot for martial arts bad, in my opinion, but he's not a god.
Yeah, my argument with that is it's not that he did it, it's that the response to him did it, which we've talked about before.
I know, I get that.
He was very skillful, there's no doubt about that. He trained really hard, and he had a lot of knowledge and had a massive library, but you're right, he's not a god.
That's me little thing. That was me jots. I've written down some more, which we'll get into in a bit, but I was in a very philosophic mood, and I've got a private student, and he asked me, how do I know when I'm good? And I went, okay. And I had this quote in my head from years ago. Not from you. I don't think you've heard this one. So I said to him, I said, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Have you ever heard this?
No.
So I said, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Because he asked me, when will I know I'm good? And he said, I don't know. I said, it's the mind understanding itself, right? That's it. So let me explain that again, right? You can't clap with one hand, right?
No.
That makes no sound. So what's the sound of one hand clapping? The mind understanding itself and understanding that there'll be a noise, and you're making it, so you're understanding. So all it is you're getting to a position where you no longer have to think about it. It's just there. That's it. That's understanding. In whatever discipline you do. What's the sound of one hand clapping? The mind understanding itself. When the mind understands itself in terms of martial art, that's when you're okay. That's when you kind of get it. Stop trying to chase it. Go on. Sorry.
Nastia was once asked by a student that just took his white sash, and the student said to Nastia, "When will I get my black sash, Mastiao?" And Mastiao said, "Don't wash it."
Yeah, right.
But the moral, obviously, the truth is that if you keep the sash in the drawer because you never train, it will always stay white. If you train with it, it'll get sweaty and dirty, and it will turn black.
Yeah.
And that is the time that you're a black sash. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And I think that's a really good story.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's better than mine. No. So my point was, don't struggle with your training. It's going to happen. And the reason,
but only if you train.
Yeah, you got to train. But it's like you've had a student, Scottish, who all I want is knowledge and advancement. And it's like, so if you want knowledge and advancement, and you're complaining that you don't get knowledge and advancement, then train, and it will happen organically. Don't want it.
Yeah.
What's the sound
well,
of
the thing is, he wanted to be given it.
Well, there you go, right? So
he's given it because he's got his sashes. So why isn't he got it?
Well,
because he
doesn't understand the sound of one hand clapping.
So why is he asking me for it?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
And then he goes, what are we paying you for?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of sash are you wearing now? What kind of organisation have you got now?
Yeah.
And now what have you got?
Wow.
Naff all under your own belt.
Well, I know.
But that's life with people. They I want this, I want that.
Okay. So it's quite a talky one, this today, isn't it? Like, not that we don't normally talk on it, but what I'm saying is I've written down quite a lot and just trying to get through stuff. Another bit of advice to people as well. I was make peace with your current level of skill, right? And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of people chasing perfection in martial arts. There's a lot of people who just are not. And I guess chasing perfection can be detrimental and it can be beneficial. But I think what you've got to, just make peace with your current level of skill, all right? And train it. And you will.
Well, first of all, they've got to accept where they are and not think they're better than they are or not as good as they are.
Well,
and
absolutely, yeah. And it's another thing I was thinking, and I wrote down. I said, there is nothing you can do to be better than you are, but there's a lot of things you can do to be worse than you are. So let's just be comfortable with that. And I think, you can train hard, get better, or just forget it, become complacent, stick to what you know, or don't need the sets, just do fighting.
First of all, the only way you're going to know where you are is to practice it.
Yeah.
And if you practice it, then you can understand it and live with it and accept it. And then, of course, as you practice, you'll recognize that skill level will become better. So then you become accustomed to that, and then your skill will become more, and so on. You will become accustomed to that. And so, yes, so you can increase it. A lot of people, of course, again, going back to the earlier concept is, I've learned so much from this style now. I can't learn anymore. I'm a master of this style now. I want to learn another style. Well, unfortunately, now that just proves you're no use.
Yeah.
Straight away. As soon as you decide you want to, I'm going to learn this style now I need to learn how to do this. I need to learn how to throw people because this style only does kicking. Well, you're either in the wrong style or you don't appreciate it. So get a life. You want to do different styles, well, then you're never going to learn anything. So that's the unfortunate thing. And again, that's not aimed at people who have suddenly decided or found out they're in a crap style. Because if you ask that question, why, you'll quickly know whether you're in a good style or not. You'll quickly know whether you're with a good instructor or not. No matter how nice they are, sweet they are, they're going to say, no, I can't teach you anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If they see a decent student.
Totally. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong at all with an instructor not knowing the answer to a question, right?
No.
It's because, if they're wise enough, they're going to say, yeah, I don't know, but let's try and either work it out together or, I'm going to go higher up and ask the opinion.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point. If you've got a decent heritage, pedigree, then you will learn from the person who knows before you. In other words, your teacher. And if that teacher doesn't know, he can ask the teacher before him, and so on. So it is a matter of hierarchy in that sense, and you've got to have respect for that hierarchy. And when you lose that hierarchy out of disrespect, and you've got no one to question or ask, then that's where it starts going to pot. And 99% of martial arts is exactly that, where they cannot any longer ask, but simply state.
So they get the screamer sticks.
Exactly. Get the screamer sticks out.
Yeah. So, right. Well, okay. I'll tell you what. Let's go on to some Lau Gar syllabus. Let's just wrap up the hand blocks and kick blocks and have a chat about them. We're going to talk about kick blocks 9 and 10. So it's go ahead. Because you got some stuff to say about these, you know.
I remember many years ago. I think I was about third degree. I was going to Grand Slash courses and so on, and I saw Master Yao do, or he was teaching number 9 kick block, and basically side kicks, step behind, reverse turning kick. Okay, and the guy, blocks the kick, the side kick, and then he bounces off the reverse turning kick, and then you will sweep. Okay. So
isn't there an elbow in there as well? As soon as you've done that, you'll use that elbow. But the bit I wanted to talk about just briefly was the sweep. Right.
Okay. And as you sweep him, he falls down, and you kick him. Now, nothing to do with the attacks or anything, or the counters. But after that point, we stepped back. Okay. And now, the next time I did the course, they spun around to get out the defender.
Controversy. It's different.
Yeah. So I went to Master Yao, obviously, naively. I went to Master Yao and John Russell at the end of the course. They were sitting it was in John Bright Street, I believe, with the boxing rings.
Yeah.
In the boxing club there. And I went up to them and I says, Master Yao, last time you stepped back, and then this time you're spinning out. I says, which one is correct? And they both looked at me and just went, use your noggin. In other words, use your head.
Sorry. That's you've told this story a million times before, Sam. But
I've only told it once.
I swear you've told it more than that. But nevertheless, it's still such an important point.
It's relative to this story.
Yeah.
So the point about the point about syllabus is that it is, it's, what's the word? It's fluid.
Yeah, but it is fluid. I know what you mean. It's fluid, but there's confines. It's like a game of chess, right? You can do any move on the chessboard as long as you stay on the chessboard.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is people don't get that. So, sometimes they can't even do the right moves pertaining to it,
Yeah. So, and as long as you use the right piece.
Well, there you go then. There you go.
You've got to stick to the confines of the rules of logic.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course, the attacker's going to do a side kick. He's then going to do a step behind, a reverse turning kick. There is logic within that reverse turning kick as well, which people don't get, okay? And it's difficult to define it within this kick block. So it'd have to be talked about in a completely separate guise.
Okay.
Because for me, to step behind yourself to the reverse turning kick around the back of them is kind of puts you in a really awkward spot, which is why you end up getting swept.
You talking about you're doing a reverse turning kick in a linear line towards them instead of stepping out around them? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, but it should be stepped out. It should be stepped out. However, of course, the counter is to sweep.
Yeah,
Okay.
but and you can't. Well, you could sweep if they stepped out around you.
Yeah.
But
You
most
can.
people will do it in a
Yeah.
linear way. But don't forget that this was a addition based on the competition environment
Yeah.
and the atmosphere at the time. So how many times are people going to do a reverse turning kick and do it for competition's sake and step around themselves? They're
No,
not
they're
really
not.
going to do that. They'll do it
No.
straight, linear.
It is done slightly different if you were doing it in a traditional sense.
Yeah, well,
in the sense that
yeah.
the logical sense, I would say, because if you're doing a reverse turning kick, say with your left leg, then you would step your right leg right behind you and to the side of them.
Yeah, take you
because if
offline.
they were doing a forward technique like a kick, front kick, or a punch, you are basically moving off to the side and bringing your leg around the front.
Yeah.
Whereas you're stepping to the side of them and doing the front, and that eliminates the possibility of them seeing your leg now. What's the word? Available to them, I guess. That's not the word I'm looking for, but for the purpose of the keep the flow going.
I know what you mean.
As a target.
You're almost disguising. You're blinding.
Yeah, well, you're not disguising. You're just getting out of the way.
Yeah.
You need to get out of the way in order to make the hook kick work. But if you're gonna actually do a side kick and then step behind directly in front of them, then all you're doing is offering them a leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they can cover they are covering. Yeah. And then as they cover, they're elbowing. And this elbow, as we describe that, is a scrape to the spine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a scrape.
The base of the spine.
Yeah, a scrape. And so they go like so. And when they go like so, now you're grabbing the shoulder.
Yeah, because
so as soon as you're elbowed, you then grab their shoulder, and because they're arched, you're literally just pulling them downwards.
Yeah, so
you can actually pull them downwards without doing the sweep. You only have to actually put your foot against their leg.
Because you've moved their head off the center of gravity, so it's not in line.
Just arched
and
back.
You just push down.
Yeah, it's the same in the 10th one as well. I'll explain.
Yeah.
But you're basically just pulling their shoulders down, and as you pull them downwards, they're falling backwards. You barely have to touch their foot to sweep it.
Yeah.
But of course, in reality, you want to kick the crap out of it. But in the terms of practice, you can literally put your foot against their leg, and they will just fall over because you're pulling them backwards, and they can't step backwards because you've got your foot there. So it is quite good. And then, of course, as they land, you're kicking them before their head hits the floor. So you're kicking their head against the floor. So you're kicking them and they're banging against the floor.
Yeah.
But of course, you've got to be wary of that. Again, theatrical license. You don't want to be doing it fast. I was in a club in Scotland, and two guys came in to inquire. They walked straight in. They sat on some chairs just as someone was doing number 9, kick block. They'd done it. The guy hadn't gone down. The guy swept him, kicked him straight in the face. And it just went smacked in the face.
We'll come
These
back.
two guys.
We'll come back.
Up.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, yeah.
They just got up and walked out because they saw that.
Not true Scots.
And I don't blame them either. And I just looked at it and I thought, oh, God.
Not too Scottish, are they? Because, Scots like to scrap,
Yeah. So, they obviously weren't Scottish enough.
Yeah,
they must have been two English guys.
Hey, what's this county of Scotland? Oh, go on there. For real, yeah.
Anyway, that's what happened in the class. But in reality, of course, you do want to kick the leg from under them, land them on the floor, bounce them off the floor, kick them there. And then, depending on the position you're in, how good your kick was, what position you're in when the kick comes back, spin out or just simply step back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just because everyone's probably thinking, when you do a reverse turning kick, you're not doing it straight on then,
You don't necessarily have to. Well, no. If you did it straight on, it's a volatile position for you.
But you can make it work. I mean, no doubt, right? There's a lot of
competition well, that's what they do in competition.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's such a but in competition, you're not going to be really stepping behind yourself to that extent, because that's too much telegraph.
No, they're usually far more flexible.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So please just bear with us. We're talking about the syllabus, guys, and and we're talking about. It's like you talk about a side kick. Most people, front kick is out front, turning kick is out in front, side kick is out in front, but really a side kick is out to the side because it's a side kick.
But I think, I think when we talk about this aspect of the syllabus, the last two, kick blocks and hand blocks, is they, as you said earlier, they were added to try to encourage competitors to perform the syllabus, because they didn't want to lose competitors who didn't want to practice the syllabus. Right. And they threw in things in the syllabus which actually made people think, oh, well, I do that in a competition, so I'll practice it. But in truth, in my opinion, is that as soon as you put something in a two-step sparring scenario, you're losing the essence of the competitive edge anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
You can practice the techniques individually and then apply them individually amongst other techniques that you choose to do in an orderly or logical fashion, or in a strategic fashion. But when you put them in a set situation and demand that they have to be high kicks because of the block, it can't be a low kick. Okay. Otherwise, I would have done a back step and then hook the foot into the groin.
Yeah, why not? Or into the top of the thigh.
Or into the inside of the thigh.
Yeah,
because that would have been a much better position to be in.
Yeah.
In reality. But of course, and that's where people's syllabus has to differ. It does differ. But as you say, as a chessboard, you have to stay on the chessboard. So you've got the specific techniques to do. You can't block them in a different way. And therefore, and you can't then change the way that you're going to do the elbow. Therefore, you have to do it that way. And you can't change the way you do the sweep. So you have to do it that way.
Yeah.
But of course, once you've practiced it, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
And you're going to see the target coming, because you're going to practice it in a sense where the person doesn't know what you're going to do. In other words, sparring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you apply it. But competition fighting, where the rules state that you can't kick below the belt, limits, that interpretation.
Yeah.
And so basically becomes a different thing.
It's syllabus, but not as we know it, Jim.
But all those descriptions, I think, do describe the way number 9 is done. But the points really to make for the people who are interested in the syllabus, obviously, is you have got to, as the kick comes around, you have got to go with it, the same as you would with the hook, as we talked about last time.
Yeah.
You've got to go with it, because if you don't, because you've got to dissipate it, so you're going to literally be striking into the calf.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're striking into the calf, and you're covering yourself, and then you're going to scrape the elbow. You need to scrape the elbow across the spine. What a lot of people do is just hit the body, but the idea is literally to scrape that bony edge along the spine to force them to go. So, and when they go like that, you then can grab and pull. Yeah. And you're not pulling them backwards, you can just pull them down because they're arched. So you just pull them down and they'll lose their balance. And of course they will, because you're sweeping them as well. As soon as you sweep them, you lift that leg straight up and straight out, and do a back kick before they even hit the floor. Yeah. So you're literally helping them towards the floor. But of course, in reality, you can't do that because it would hurt them. And so sweeping them carefully, hitting them back as they're down on the floor. They are meant to roll away, because they're meant to be defenders as well.
Yeah.
So once they're on the floor, they've got to throw that leg across.
You've got to get
roll away as far as they can to get up again, and they'll get up on the opposite way. So you end up opposite.
If you're on the floor, you don't get up where you are. Friggin' roll, try and get some distance. Just bugger off.
Yeah, you've got to roll.
Get up, get out.
Yeah, it's teaching you to roll to get out and escape.
But it's that would be a part of it which many people probably don't do, because they think, oh, it's the end of it now, I'll just get up.
Yeah.
And it's
so they just stand up.
Right, but no, not really. Just keep your head in the game, keep your head.
Well, again, the logical aspect, if you apply logic to it, you've scraped them in the spine, they're hurt, you've kicked them legs from under them, they're landing on the floor on their back, you've kicked them as they're going. Are they going to roll away?
Well, but what can you do? Just end it and then just get up here? theatrical license.
So it is. All it is a teaching process. So you're actually rolling away.
But this
in
is
the process
why
of learning
it's that point you just made there. Are they going to get it? That people don't understand why we do the syllabus, and they will criticize it. The hand blocks and kick blocks in particular. Oh, it's archaic. It's not working. You need to start somewhere. You need to have some concept somewhere.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I get it. Like it's just think of them as two-man forms, and you know.
Yeah. It's a fighting scenario that's done in that particular way. But discover, I think the important thing is the more you train it, the more you realise that a better position to be in is to the side, bringing up the leg to the front of their face. You know, that's why they've got to sort of block it and rock it and roll it. But obviously before the kick is applied.
You know, you can interpret that. I mean, if you're looking back by Jern, you know,
it's chunk bounce.
Yeah. So you know you're dissipating.
Well, remember that is a bouncing motion, and you remember that is a bouncing twisting motion. So it's bouncing cover straight away, cover elbow.
Yeah, but so
elbow grab pull.
Yeah, that rotation is creating that bounce. So you're dissipating as well. That's in back by Joan at the start.
Yes.
When you're doing that.
Yeah,
bam,
twice.
You know,
bump and
bam, bam. You know,
that is twisting.
Yeah, but you've got to get this this rotation on that. You know, what do you want to call it? A bong sow, but it's kind of isn't. But you know,
well, that's that. No, it's not a bong sow. It's
no,
not
I didn't. I say kind of is, kind of isn't.
How
How else do we describe it though? That's a
well,
bong
it's
sow.
the first set. You're in the first move of the first set. Do you like my tan, by the way? It's equal now. See. Because I spent some time in the driver's seat and some time in the passenger seat.
Yes. I think, right. Okay, I'm with you. Are we talking about driving or syllabus?
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
I just noticed my arms.
Let's just change the subject completely.
I noticed my arms in the camera, and I thought, oh look.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah, what's that scribble? What's that scribble on your arm? What's that scribble there?
You really wanted me to tell you? It's Bruce Lee's signature.
Yeah, I know. Self-administered.
Well, not by myself. No, someone did it with a needle and a
I thought you did it. I thought you did it yourself, like, you know.
Oh, no, someone drew it with a matchstick.
Heating a needle up on a candle.
No, they drew it with a matchstick and then Indian ink and a pin, and just with a pin.
And be honest, do you regret it?
Yeah, I do regret it. Not because it's Bruce Lee's signature, because I'm, you know, it's kind of a mark. It's when I was into Bruce Lee.
They can identify you in a lineup.
Yeah, I was 16 when in C school, and everybody was having love and hate written across their forehead,
and on the knuckles.
And on the knuckles, yeah, mum, dad.
Yeah,
but they couldn't spell dad.
Right, we have completely gone off the. We've veered out of international waters here.
Let's go to number 10.
Yeah, number 10. Go for it.
Well, number 10 is a turning kick, and as you do the turning kick, you know
Are you looking at notes?
No, why?
Why were you looking down then? Have you got a note?
I'm scratching my hand. I got a cut on my hand.
I thought you were looking at a note. I
noticed that. I noticed the cut on my hand when I was doing that.
Oh, right. I thought you had a note there, and I was like, bloody hell. Have you forgotten it already?
I mean, already?
Oh, well,
I learned it like 40 years ago.
That's what I mean. You know, it's like early onset, isn't it? You know. All right. Dementia.
No.
I'm a master.
Yeah, it's a turning kick. Yeah, and I don't like the block very much, but, you know, because it depends on how high a person can kick.
Doesn't it lend itself to you getting quite, like, hurt? I always thought that.
Exactly. And
you're on your bone.
I don't like it. But if you think about this one, hopefully you can cover the knee with it, or yeah. But it really does. The thing about this kick block is it really is difficult for people to learn if they're training with someone who's not specifically good with round kicks or with kicks in general. So, you know, you can do it low as long as you drop your stance, but a lot of people don't drop the stance, so they end up leaning forwards, as we all do when legs get weak. So you're down. So, but that's the block anyway, okay? And then as you're moving, you're covering yourself as you move forward, cross step, and you're just going to just smack that in the back of them, the waist, the kidney. Okay, so you're 1, 2, and then you're hitting them in the center of the shoulders, which is meant to pull them back, and then grabbing them. And this is the essence of this one that I want to describe really more than anything else. Again, the same thing. You hit them like so. They should be like that. The idea of pulling them back, don't pull them back and send your knee forwards. The strongest knee is upwards. So you're pulling them down onto the knee coming up, and that is the most devastating. That's the nice way of doing it. That really works. And then of course you're hitting them in the base of the spine with your knee because you pulled them right over, so that hooks right backwards, and you're just pulling them back. Oh, I just need the table.
But you got to be, you know. Listen,
Christ, I hope I haven't broke anything. So you're kneeing them, and of course then you're just pushing them away. Again, if you're pushing them away and they're already hurt like that, the likelihood is you're spinning them downwards. But again, in terms of the syllabus, it's a traditional thing. You're just pushing them away, and they go back the opposite direction. And that's it really. But a lot of people can't do the spinning kicks very well at the point that they learn that technique. So turning kick, spinning kicks has got to be real fast, and of course you've got to get inside that spinning kick. And that's the beauty of defending against a spinning kick. Well, the spinning kick comes round, you're literally moving right into them.
But how often, you know, I mean, it's such a, you can so see the competition inspired, you know, just that cross step. But it's not competition inspired, it's kung fu. You're doing a cross step and closing the gap. I get that. But just like you said, you've got to be you've got to give an honest spinning kick, a good, you know, fast.
Got to be honest, You've got to be really trying to hit them.
Biggest
and of
thing,
course, if you step back or move sideways, you're still going to get hit by the spinning kick.
You know, what's the safest place to be? You know,
inside,
in the middle. You know, if you think about a kid's roundabout, you know, if you're on the outside, you're going to spin off. But if you're in the middle, you're safe. You're just going to turn around. So it's that, you know, get out the centrifugal force of that kick.
And if you remember the syllabus I wrote for the kickboxing,
we did
when they did spinning kicks, I would be inside sweeping the leg.
And that's I remember that. And with the also with the reverse turning kick as well, we did that.
Sweeping the leg.
You know, I remember when we did a George Shaw, one of the great sort of, you know, coaches of competition fighting, Lau Gar, you know, since retired, but fantastic guy. And his attitude was great. Real, like, just hit him. That's what I like. And he said to me, "Do a fast." I
think that's where I got a lot of mine from.
Yeah, it's that attitude. I love that attitude because he was only a short ass, wasn't he? But you know, you wouldn't want to. You put it like this: if you stood behind him at a cash point and you were too close, he'd break your leg. Like, and he did. He did to someone. He did him a side kick.
Was it the socks?
Was it? Jesus.
That was in the socks in the department store.
Oh, was it? I thought it was an ATM. I thought it went like that. And just broke his leg. Yeah. What was it?
Oh, no, it was that was a completely different story. Yeah. He just smacked him in the mouth.
Yeah, right. Oh, no, he did a side kick to someone and broke their leg.
Yeah, that was another story.
Right, okay, all right.
He saw someone trying to get into a car.
Okay,
and they saw him see them.
Right.
And they walked over to him, you know. He says, "I don't want any trouble," and just kicked him around the leg, broke his leg.
But that was the bit, like George Shaw.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. And when you went down the centre one day, and George Shaw's thing was always he used to do the Lau Gar, flick of the foot, and then the back fist to the head. So you feint them low, hit them high, and like, you know, just a classic. And he always used to do that to you, didn't he? Messing you around. And one day you went down there and he did that to you, and you punched him in the leg. He went.
Oh, no, that wasn't George Shaw.
It was. No. You told me it was George Shaw.
No, that wasn't George Shaw.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
That would be someone else. I never trained with George Shaw.
I'm not saying you trained with George Shaw. I'm saying you saw him. Never mind.
Oh, I don't know. I might.
Yes, you did do that. You did do that because you took great pleasure in telling me that. Right.
Oh,
anyway.
Okay. Sorry, I'm.
Right. The point I was.
I can't remember everything.
Early onset.
I can't remember everything.
Yeah, well, I know this because that's why I got the klaxon. Luckily, I can. Like, you know.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
No, the point was, he said to me, George Shaw said, right, do a fast spinning kick. And I had a fast spinning kick, like it was fast. And it was all right. And I went like that. I thought, I'm going to get him on the heads, right? I'm going to go for it. And just like that, he was in the center, bang, like that. And beautiful. And it's just that, close the gap, and that sort of economy of motion, that just being in the right place at the right time that I love. Yeah. But you've got to be able to do a good spinning kick. The majority of people generally are not doing spinning kicks, they're doing spinning hook kicks, or they're releasing it too early and it just looks shocking. A spinning kick, learn what a spinning kick is, people. Do it. Yeah. It's different than a spinning hook kick.
Because when people first learn spinning kicks, they don't like them because they just say, I would never do this in real life, or I wouldn't do this in real life. But you can do so much with the spinning kick once you understand it.
You sweep people with it. Jesus, how good is that?
Yeah, you can knock cigarettes out of people's mouths with it.
There you go. Yeah, I know. Wait for it.
I did that when I was 13.
I'm going to click the klaxon. I'm going to click it. You've said that. Right. But anyway, so go ahead. Go ahead. What else?
Well, that was basically it. I mean, as far as spinning kicks are concerned, when you do spinning kicks, I mean, you're going to do spinning kicks and then drop to the floor to end up as a spinning sweep. You can do spinning kicks just around the legs and so on. And you can do really nice spinning kicks up. But you've got to do that spinning kick. And of course, the defender has just got to move in.
Yeah.
It's very similar to like when people, when people do the spin in the sword.
Yeah.
I used to train people like that, and I'd stand at the sword. I'd say, you got to come towards me with the sword. So they'd spin the sword, and they'd turn their back as the sword came around. And then, I'd just move in.
Yeah.
And as they came around the second time, I'd be able to take the sword off them.
Yeah.
Simply because they just did not go around fast enough, because you've got to spin the sword and spin it again before your body comes round. Right. Otherwise, you're at risk. And that's where I used to catch people out all the time.
But it's hard to do that. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's bloody hard to do it. Yeah, you have to be quick. You have to have some courage.
Yeah.
Swords coming. Yeah. With an untrained person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just imagine. Yeah. And you have to get a hiccup. So they spin, they turn, and as they turn, they've got their back to you. They're not bringing the sword around fast enough. What they've got to do is spin, throw the sword around them, and then come around to meet the sword.
Yeah.
That way, when they land their leg, it's not a target, and their back isn't a target.
Great. So, in retrospect now, like, what comments and remarks have you got to make about the hand blocks and the kick blocks, just to finish off the discussion? We'll talk about them again at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll always talk about them. People don't practice them enough. People don't respect them enough. They are obviously, in their own way, they have a certain usefulness, but if you practice them as basics and then try to play with them in lots of different ways, you'll get an awful lot of answers. Okay, but the most important thing is different people will get different answers, because you're different sizes, you're different speeds, you're different attitudes, you're different targets because of your anatomy and because of your fitness level or your flexibility level. So you're always going to be different. Okay, but the most important thing is you practice them like they mean something, because if you don't, they're useless. And the worst thing in the world is to practice them just to take a grading.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then you'll never learn them. Because as soon as you've done the grading, you'll forget them. And how many people have you seen in the class? You say, can you partner him and do number 5 and 6? And they go, oh, can you tell me what 5 and 6 is again?
It's happened to me. Like, I've forgotten them sometimes. But and this is the interesting thing. Like, because I've taught them a lot, I understand them. But sometimes I'll forget the sequence. I'll go, oh, what was it again? But it doesn't mean I don't understand them. It just means
no, it's the same with sets.
Yeah, just means sometimes you forget the sequence, because it doesn't matter about sequence. Of course, it does to pass a grade, do the form. But, don't get head up if you forget it. Just understand what you're doing. That's the main thing. So for everybody who says, I can recite the entire syllabus, blah, 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 doesn't matter. That means nothing. Recite the individual techniques and give me detail on them. That means something, Yeah. So, but just don't train wushu. There you go. Right, guys. I think we're gonna have to bring it to a close now. You happy to? You happy? Well,
yeah.
Well, it's good to catch up with you. Thanks, guys, for joining us for another episode of the Kung Fu Podcast. And if you enjoyed that, please head over, give us a like on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. As always, give us some feedback. Give us some comments. Nothing too salty, although, use your discretion. But, guys, at the end of the day, we are passionate advocates of Lau Gar, the martial art, the Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts, and we just want to have the discussion. All right, that's all we're doing this for. Not to be controversial, but we don't give a shit what we say, but we just want to have a discussion. Problem is, not many people do want that discussion. They want to close it down. They want to, seek refuge in their own, sanctity of,
And if people don't like being criticised, then you shouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Guys, as always, we're always open to criticism. If you think we've got something wrong, let us know. Yeah. And that's it. So, just enjoy yourself, enjoy your training, keep safe, and we'll see you again on another episode of the Kung Fu Podcast with me, James Still, and my teacher, Mr. Newbie. Say goodbye, Mr. Newbie.
Did you introduce us at the beginning?
I probably did. I can't remember. It's, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. My mind is getting, weird, But anyway, yeah. So I enjoyed that. That was a nice one, wasn't it? I like that one. That was good. That was fun. Nice to get back into it, I've got some more things I wrote down that I'm going to do on the next one. So anyway, we hope you join us again, guys. And, we'll be back soon. Take care of yourselves. All the best. Be safe. You can't just wave. It's a podcast, all right? Just say something.
Sorry. I got to say. I was thinking, I saw my camera. Okay, bye.
Right.
Guys, thanks for listening. Enjoy.
Right, thank you.
Oh, you're all right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. That's good. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Concentrate on your enemy's weak points. The eyes, the throat, the knackers.
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Kung Fu Podcast. If you like that and you want to find out more about us, you can head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or YouTube and find us under SJN Martial Arts. And also guys, this podcast is available on Podbean and iTunes. So until next time, take care of yourselves and we'll see you again on the Kung Fu Podcast.
Karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A Kung Fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end and it go whang.
Can you break a log like that?
Don't know. Never been attacked by a tree.
Are you lost or something?
No, bear with me. I'm just trying to sort everything out and get a charger for this.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. All right. Well, don't forget, I sent you the link on Zoom on the on Jackie's thing. All right.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, I'll be about 10 minutes. I'm just going to shave as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. All right. 10 minutes. See you in a bit.
I've got to find a charger.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Bye.
See you in a bit.
Bye. Because, why wouldn't you be 10 minutes? Because I've only been waiting here 15 minutes.